Well, I had a pretty early start this morning. I got up before sunrise and headed up canyon to the location where I left my camera overnight. And sometimes people ask me if I ever have any concerns about leaving my camera out overnight, but you know, I've done this for so long, then there's never really been an issue. Just as long as the weather is going to be decent and there's not going to be any extreme wind or anything like that. And of course, if it's a little off the beaten path in an area where there's not going to be any other people. You know, I just never really had any problems with it, so I covered it with the dark cloth last night, just you know, protect it from falling sap, which is something I've learned in years past. The cottonwoods will drip little drips of sap, maybe as caterpillars are eating the leaves or something along those lines. But I got to the scene well before the light and watched as the light began to develop. And I went ahead and exposed 2 sheets of color negative film because it's a pretty high contrast scene. This is a scene that Velvia won't do very well with just because there's some deep shadows and some really bright highlights. So after exposing 2 sheets, that only leaves me with 1 sheet. So I brought in a total of 4. The plan for this afternoon, well, I should say the plan for midday, is to scout around and see if I can find any more subjects, but my plan at this point is to head down canyon a little later this afternoon and see if I can find a composition on this one particular tree that I think looks pretty cool with this really big sandstone wall that'll be illuminated in reflected light. And also the tree in the front will have a little reflected light on it too, so it's a really bold scene. But until then, I will explore a little bit, see if I can find any more compositions, because I have exposed half my film so far, and my days are a little bit numbered here. But I think that the goal will be to finish off all my film here in Neon Canyon, and then head up canyon, up the Escalante River a little bit to another side canyon, and you know, evaluate the potential there maybe for next year. I don't think I'm going to do the hike where I hike, you know, 4 miles down canyon through all the willows. Maybe save that for next year. But the weather is perfect right now for reflected light. Birds are chirping. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a paradise down in these canyons. So, time to go find some more shots. As I've been wandering around a little bit today, I've been thinking about something, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy using a normal lens and a wide lens, but nothing that's, you know, extreme wide or extreme telephoto. And partially it's because it allows me to see a composition with my eyes. If you kind of use your whole peripheral vision, basically that's what I'm going to get with the wide angle lens. If you kind of focus your attention on one area, that's what you're going to get with a normal lens. So it makes it easy for me to kind of wander around and to, you know, to see the compositions without even having to take the camera out. There's a side benefit of this, which is pretty nice. I really do enjoy returning to the same locations I've photographed, and just now I visited one of the locations I shot 2 years ago, and it was really cool to see it in person. And there's something about, you know, looking at that photo I'm at home and seeing that scene and everything, but then being able to stand there and to look at it. And the photo that I'm referencing was a picture of these 2 boulders with these sort of streaked lines of desert varnish in the background. And I really like the way that photo turned out. It's probably one of my favorite photos I've shot in the past few years. And it's really neat being able to return to that location and just sit there and look at it. And it's gonna sound kind of weird, but it's like looking at a 3-dimensional photograph, because I shot it with a normal lens and that's how my eye saw the scene. So when I revisit it, and that's how I see it. So it's one of the reasons why I really do enjoy returning to the same locations again and again and revisiting some of the locations that I've shot in the past. And when I drove here through Zion, there's a photo I shot this past fall that's not far from the road at all. So I stopped there and just looked at the scene and sort of took it all in. And it's really just like visiting the photo. It's really interesting, even though it's visiting a scene I've taken a photo of, but for me, all the time I've spent there and all that, I can just revisit that and see everything in dimension and see how everything's doing, which is kind of fun. So, it's a beautiful day here today. and I got many more hours to kill before my afternoon shot. After taking the photos, I brought all my gear back to camp and decided it would be a good time to go up top and kind of get a greater view of my surroundings. I went up there last year and I actually ended up taking a photo up there, which turned out pretty cool. There were some clouds. But the main reason for going up there was I wanted to kind of see the entire length of Neon Canyon from above and see if there's any other cool subjects I can find up there. And I did find a really cool subject, but it would be really difficult to photograph. I'd have to have a long lens, and I'm not quite sure what light it would look good in, but there was actually some kind of cool stuff up there. But the other reason for going up top is, sometimes when you're in these canyons and you're down here for so long, you end up kind of getting a little claustrophobic, and you just want to have, clean view of the horizon, at least in one direction. And there was certainly a lot of that to be had up top. So that was quite nice. Then after that, I went back to camp, made myself some lunch, kind of relaxed for a while, and then I decided to head back up canyon because there was this tree that I had found in past couple days. It has this really nice light in the afternoon. The only challenge was the wind. There was a lot of wind, and so I was very patient and waited and found just the right moment to do a 12-second long exposure. And there was very, very little wind, so I was very, very fortunate for that break in the wind when there was still some good light. But now I'm back at camp, and another little bit of a change in plans. I think I'm going to head out of here tomorrow. It's partially because, I've shot 3 different scenes, and I'm pretty happy with that, but also I sense a little bit of a change in the weather. There's some high clouds out there now, and high clouds do not do well with reflected light. So I think it'd be a good chance to get out of here pretty early in the morning, so I can avoid hiking in the heat of day, because it was quite warm today, and I'm going to be carrying a lot of gear back up top, including a lot of extra water. So I think first sign of any glimmer of light in the sky, I will be getting up, packing up camp, and heading back up top. And I still do have one more location that I do want to visit on this trip, which is also kind of a small backpacking trip. But before doing that, I want to head back to civilization and give my wife a call, let her know all is going well. But yeah, feeling pretty good about today, and looking forward to the rest of my trip. If you love this content and want to help support my journey, you can do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, telling a friend, or sending a contribution of just $24 a year via PayPal. I depend on the generous support of people like you to produce this ad-free content. Thanks in advance for your support.